Okay, so today we are putting the engine back on the car. So we had started filming a couple of weeks ago for a race, and the car didn't run right off the trailer. So we ended up taking the engine in and having it gone through.
And bent a valve.
Got it all fixed up, had some things wrong with it. So we should be good now. Just have to get it all put back together, and hopefully we'll be racing this weekend and we'll get some footage of that. So bring you along for this whole ordeal, and hope you enjoy. Alright, so off camera we've been cleaning all the surfaces of exhaust, intake.
It all has silicone on it and
gasket maker, so I'm going to clean up any surface that mates to carburetor, intake, and to block, and exhaust to block. So once all that gets cleaned, which most of it is, I think he's just working on the last little bit of it there, we'll put the engine on,
show you how that process is,
and then we'll start with probably the intake, and then the that right there, which is the recirculation for the oil and the crankcase pressure, and then we'll move on to some other things. So I just wanted to show you guys something real quick here that I really like about this car as opposed to our last car. So you have the engine mounting plate, in which the clutch support and the other side crank support sits, the engine sits here, and that whole assembly goes up on here. Now in our last car, anytime you moved this, you had to readjust your belt back here, the distance from the front to the rear. On this car, you take the engine off, your belt adjustment doesn't get changed, because we have that bolt and that, well, they're nuts, but these two nuts here, you loosen those and this whole plate here moves forward or backward for your belt adjustment. So I think we get really lucky there that we don't have to try to readjust our belt every time this engine comes off, which is really nice. So just a little bit of information on how some of this works, kind of an up close, and we'll get it up close here once we get everything back on. For all you people watching that don't race Junior Dragsters or don't know much about them, so hopefully you'll learn a little bit of something here and there. And he's still working on getting the
all this clear silicone,
all the silicone gasket maker off of there. So we'll get on to the next thing and keep moving along.
Alright, now we're going to put on the intake.
Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of RTV on this. This is clear RTV. You guys let me know how you store this, because every time I go to use it, it's dried up. So from here to here, mine's dry. Down here it seems like it's okay, so I had to cut into it. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to use very much. This is basically just to create an air and liquid tight seal between, obviously, the intake and the block. It doesn't take much. Just a real light skim coating. And you gotta remember, if you're putting this on and you tighten it down and some oozes out here, it's gonna ooze out, okay? Well, if it oozes out outside the intake, then it's probably oozing out on the inside as well, which will create lips of sealant in here. So as your air and fuel mix come in, it's actually being blocked by, silicone. So These on there as close as we can. And we'll throw the bolts in. So, probably put the, I don't know if I'm going to put the exhaust on after I have it on or before. But, alright, so, I'm just going to slide that in there. Goes all the way through for now. And we'll pick the whole unit up, say a few cuss words. Yeah, these need to be loosened.
Yep. Alright, we're gonna mount the motor.
Okay, slight change of plans. Yes, we are mounting the motor. Not the same way I thought we were going to. So, he was trying to tell me and I didn't listen. That's all there is to it. So, the easier way, that thing, we'll go ahead and go on first. Then the engine. Four bolts, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got all the nuts on. Try to show you here why we have problems getting this thing on. So you go up so high on here and the nut and the washer won't go on because the block is too close to this stud here. So you have to lift the engine up and then put your washer on and put your nut on both sides on the front. And also these are integrated into this plate here and they just spin freely. They don't lock themselves down, so you have to put some sort of force against them in order to tighten the nut. So we got those done. Next we'll put these crank supports on both sides. Lock those down. And the issue that I was having earlier, what you seen, was he was trying to tell me that these needed to come off so these can be adjusted to the engine. So you basically put them on just like that and you tighten them down on both sides, and that's how you adjust them. That way they're not too far up or down, because they do have these slots in them that allow it to move up and down for different size engines, different engine types, which we all pretty much run the same type of thing, same type of engine, but they're all a little different in their own way. So we'll go ahead and lock these down, and then we'll get on to some other things, and we'll keep moving right along and show you what we're doing next, and when we get it done we'll show you. So alright, that went on pretty painless, super easy. Three nuts and it's on, nice and lined up right in the bearing. So over here we have the clutch guard, which bolts into those 4 holes, and you can adjust it up or down. We like to run it kind of with the line of the engine. So there you go. It's a pretty rough shape, but it's got a lot of his old stickers on it, so that's why we keep using it. There's a lot of different styles of these. Some have mounts back here or up here in this area that have Zeus fasteners that just you Zeus fasten it on. This is not one of those styles, and that's okay. It works. Okay, so after that we'll bring it back for the clutch, and then the upright over here for the crank support. Okay, so up next we have the clutch. We run a polar quick shift from half scale. It's a really expensive clutch, but we really have had good luck with it. So I don't just put the clutch on right on the crank without having some sort of something to keep the heat from totally just scarring the inside of the clutch post. So we've got our key, which
holds it on, or?
Which should be at the top, just to make it easier. We also have our crank saver washer, which I'll show you. It's a special little washer that has a little recessed part that sits right on this part of the crank, so it kind of rests right there, and it allows, or it doesn't allow, the clutch to go all the way in to that certain point. It keeps it out here a little way so it doesn't push, because when the clutch works, it pushes against the crank to be able to push this inside sheave this way and bring the belt up out, which I can show you that a little while later. But anyway, so we have that washer, and we have our key. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of this regular old Kindle Super Blue.
Probably 1970.
Yep, pretty old stuff. It doesn't matter. And we just kind of give it a coating all the way around. That way it has at least something in between the clutch post and the crank to kind of cushion the heat, as well as, you know, any movement that it has. It won't just sit there and scar itself up. So make sure you have your keyway lined up on the clutch, and there it is. That'll get locked down with a long bolt with some Loctite. We'll get that done, and then we'll come back when we put this upright on. That one, but the belt has to go on before that, which I never seem to get done right, so.
Alright, well that's what this looks like with all the sports on. It's all bolted down, belts on. So what's the next step?
Probably put the exhaust pipe on.
Exhaust pipe on. Here we go. So what type of gasket maker are you making?
On the exhaust we use red RTV high temp gasket maker. Same deal as with the intake, it doesn't take a whole lot. But on this, I guess it's fine if some squeezes out because there's not a whole lot of surface area here. So it's gonna squeeze out a little bit.
Won't lose any horsepower or anything. If it's having a little blockage.
Well, we're giving all the horsepower anyway, so I mean, if we lose a little, it's not really gonna affect us because we already have it all anyway.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure, like, you go around it and you count how many times you go around it. And then this one's super easy. You just kind of put it up where you want it to go.
Even with the tape there?
No, we're going to take this tape off.
I'll take the tape off.
This is the easiest thing you're going to do when you're putting an engine on.
Alright, so you
just like this, you take this.
Okay. Holy smokes. No way. No way.
You just jumped right on.
That's all. Oh, it's on too.
So you just put a little bit of that sealant on and it just jumps right on.
Wow.
It's ready to go.
Can you do that with other stuff too?
Like,
or is that
like the whole thing?
Yeah, or is that just that?
Oh, well, it's just that.
Oh,
Like I said, the exhaust is the easiest part. It just once you get a little bit of high temp RTV on there, it just jumps right on. So.
Okay.
Yep. Next, we'll move on to something else, and then something else, and then something else after that. So.
Good deal. Alright, give you another update. Got the breather, puke tank, fuel pump all hooked up now. Got the spark plug tight, kill switch. It's pretty simple. It's just these bolts right there. And it basically holds everything together. So now we're just doing the finishing touches. Plugging stuff in. Just plug that in. Plug in the coil. So, it's almost there. We'll give you another update here. Alright, we're going to see what this beast will do.
I'm sure we forgot something. I'm sure we forgot something. Alright, so I gotta fill the bowl with fuel, so I'm gonna roll it over here. See if that pump will even work. Alright.
Pump and fill.
Pump and fuel.
Anything going on?
Not that I see.
Okay.
Don't see any leaks of any kind.
Well, test complete. There we go.
Alright, I think we're ready. Let's make sure that this is still recording. You can see. Yes, it is. Yes, you can.
Perfect.
Alright. See what it'll do. Switch on. Yep.
Is the emergency still on?
Nope. Lock switch is on. Lock switch is off. Try it again. Looks like it doesn't have any spark. Coil wire. Well, we've got an issue somewhere.
I've got something.
Alright, we're gonna check this thing for spark and come back at you. You don't want to watch that, it's kind of boring. So.
Alright, we tested.
Okay.
Tested for spark.
Take 2. Testing for spark. It's sparking. Getting spark. Whatever you want to call it. Sparking. Getting spark. Open up the throttle a little bit more. Maybe I just wasn't open enough. Ready?
Yep.
We got something wrong. Okay.
Getting fuel or air.
Something's wrong, I don't know what. And it's not firing up. So, I don't know. I'll come back to you. Okay, take 3. Different fuel pump. And we cleaned out the carburetor. That fuel pump, the old one was full of nasty gunk from not being cleaned out properly. So we will see what happens this time. Alright, hole now has fuel in it. Emergency kill off. See what happens. You on?
Yeah.
Back up, kitty. Dummy.
Alright. Well, we couldn't figure it out. It runs, it just doesn't run all that great. I think it might be bad fuel, so tomorrow we're gonna go to the drag strip, figure it out there. And so, I'll see you there tomorrow.